I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us. An absolute pleasure to connect with you through the I Love CVille Network, a network presented by the Clifton. The Clifton in Keswick is an opportunity for memorable dining experiences, happy hour experiences, wedding experiences. If you're looking to make a memory, the answer is the Clifton in Keswick. Find them online. We know the staff, and we know them quite well, and they're fantastic at their job. So much to cover on today's show. We have a guest that is, I'm going to say, as popular as the football coach or the basketball coach this week. Athena Emmans is in the house. You know the name Tony Bennett? I know the name Athena Emmans, the general manager of Fashion Square Mall. In the news cycle, and in the news cycle some more. Certainly on this network, certainly in the Daily Progress, NBC 29 and CBS 19, we're going to talk the center, Fashion Square Mall, that is on the tip of everyone's tongues today. If you're living in a cave, and perhaps some are, the news, Home Depot has purchased much of Fashion Square Mall. They did not purchase the JCPenney or Belk's Women. They've purchased the rest. And now we're going to discuss what the vision and what the plans are and where we go from here. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Let's go to the studio camera and let's welcome someone that needs a very little introduction. Athena Emmans to the program. Que pasa? How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm glad to talk to everybody and kind of get the word out there.
It's great to have you. Before we get to the nitty-gritty,
absolutely,
introduce yourself to everyone that's watching the show.
Absolutely. So my name is Athena. I am the general manager at Fashion Square Mall. I've been there on site since February, so fairly recent. I am an employee of JLL, which they are one of the largest property management companies, commercial property management companies. They're huge, and they're all over the world. So
legitimately all over the world.
Yeah. They have locations everywhere. Very large company, amazing company to work with. Very happy to be a part of their team. So I've been, like I said, there since February. It's been a lot of fun.
I bet it has. Let's talk Home Depot purchasing the mall. I mean, we talked about this on the I Love CVille Network, and it went viral like few stories we've put on the network have gone viral before. Can you put first in perspective the virality of this story and how it impacted your phone over the last handful of days, please?
My phone has been ringing off the hook. We'll start there. It is true. Home Depot definitely purchased the property. They closed on the 1st. Like you mentioned, they purchased the majority of the shareholding spots of the property. 19 acres, I believe, is the final number, right around there, of the property. They just don't own the JCPenney side, and they just don't own the Belk Women's side. So other than that, the property is theirs.
Home Depot, a brand that everyone knows.
Absolutely.
Can we put, and you can't see into the future, we can't see into the future, we completely understand. All those that are watching the program, we have to understand that this is a work in progress. I'm just going to ask the open-ended question. What are expectations here? What do we see potentially coming?
So Home Depot has made it clear that JLL is not going anywhere. For the foreseeable future, nothing is changing. It'll still be a mall. They are wanting me to continue with the path that I have been going since February, which is bringing the mall back to life. They want the center to be very customer friendly, so there will be a lot of changes. The center is, if you've been there recently, it needs some help, needs some love. I've been giving it tons. That's my baby for sure. So they definitely want to tell the customer bases that they're not leaving. The mall is not going anywhere. And I'm going to continue on my path on bringing more things to the center for Charlottesville and surrounding communities to enjoy. So that's not going to change.
What kind of things?
So kind of my vision for the center has been JLL themselves supports small business. Me, myself, as a previous small business owner, and I own my own business too on the side that is employee ran for the most part. I want to support small businesses. I think the motto that's been around America, shop small, shop local, that's resonated in many communities throughout America, is something that has stuck with me. And so I want to support small, local businesses and help them grow and get them into centers and malls that maybe they never thought was going to be a possibility. I mean, you think a mall, you think as a small business, oh, well, I'll never end up in there. I'll never be able to make it there. But that's not the reality of it. We want to support them. We want to see them grow.
It's awesome.
So I've been in probably so many businesses in the area that I've gone in there, met the owners, talked to them, shared with them my vision of what I want to see the center. So not only retail-based and small business-based, but event center-based. I want to bring things for people to do in Charlottesville as families, as, young college students, as, a single man and a single woman wanting to go out and do something. I want Charlottesville Fashion Square Mall to be the place that they come. And so that's what we've been working towards making happen.
Dude, you're awesome. She's so awesome. Let's put this in perspective here. Everyone that's listening to the show, I mean, certainly with me, the word center is resonating.
Yeah.
Is this, why center and not mall?
So with a center, when you think of center, you think of things that are not just necessarily retail-based. And I think that that's maybe where I picked that up. It is Fashion Square Mall. It's not Fashion Square Center.
Uh-huh.
But when I got here, that was kind of what everybody in the community said. They kept saying it was a center. It's the center, Fashion Square Center. And that's just kind of maybe the vocab that I picked up just from everybody in town and kind of where I feel like it's headed. It's not just this indoor, mall, so to speak, where you go and get
Stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're highlighting the experiential nature of the center. That's kind of why you're emphasizing here, because of the potential of creating events.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And things to do as a community. That's one of the things that I've pushed really hard since being there in February, is to get things for the community to come to do at the mall. So we did a back to school event. We partnered with Northside Baptist Church, and we provided, I want to say our final number was, and this is our first year, so I understand this number is fairly low. I think it was like 200 backpacks.
Nice.
Free with school supplies to the local students in Charlottesville. They came, they enjoyed a fun-filled day. We had bouncy houses, popcorn, snacks, all kinds of fun things for them to do, activities, arts and crafts, and then we gave out the backpacks. The Build-A-Bear, life-size bear that rarely makes an occurrence anywhere in America anymore, came to our center and made an occurrence at the back-to-school event, so that was huge. We've done Easter events where we've done free arts and crafts, and we have the Easter Bunny that was there, and a whole fun-filled day of just doing things with the family centered around the Easter Bunny. And we want to keep doing things like that, just bring in things that people within the community can do that maybe isn't going to cost a whole lot, if at all. We did a family fun day too that was out in the parking lot, again partnered with Northside Baptist Church, and they did tons of bouncy houses, free food, just a whole bunch of free things that the community could enjoy. So those kind of event-centered things and partnerships that I'm trying to grow within the community to help provide those free things, we're going to keep doing. It's not going to end. It's not going to stop, at least in the foreseeable future.
Terrence Smith, welcome to the broadcast. Vanessa Parkhill, welcome to the show. Multiple folks are saying, including Daishi Diamanti, the mall isn't going anywhere. I would love, first, you're getting serious props from viewers and listeners. Serious props. For example, Kevin Higgins says this: total respect for someone that has recently stepped into a position as general manager of a mall that's in transition, coming on a show that's so well watched like this. Total respect for Athena. I could not have said it better.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to straight up say this, is a badass here. And my interaction with her throughout this entire week has been straightforward, straight shooter. She's been upfront. She appears, from the texting we're doing back and forth, to be working around the clock and rarely sleeping.
That would be an accurate statement.
That would be me as well. So I want to throw this to you. When you took the GM role at Fashion Square Mall, did you know of let's call it a transitionary period the mall was in?
No. I mean, a lot of things have happened.
Okay.
It's been all fairly quick.
I meant more like the, I guess it's seen some better days.
No.
Really? So you took the job and you didn't know that? Wow, this is incredible.
I mean, I knew on some level, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there's some level that I was, aware of. But no.
When you got there on day one, and you're a straight shooter here.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you got there on day one and you were walking through the mall that you're the general manager of, what was going through your mind?
This is going to be fun. I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most about it is just being able to, I like to plant, I like to grow things, I like to decorate, huge fan of all that and making things look pretty. So I had a pretty blanket canvas, to begin with. And so I was excited. I was excited to see my stamp, my love on things, and that I want to say that that's shown, in the last few months. I like to think that it has. But yeah, I was excited. I think that would be the best way to put it.
We should highlight how well-traveled you are professionally.
Absolutely. So I have worked all over the United States. I have lived and ran businesses and managed properties and done things in 11 different states. So Maryland's the closest to here. That was about 11 years ago. Lived in Texas, lived in Kansas, lived in California, Washington, and Louisiana. I mean, I put my love in a lot of places around the United States. So while I currently reside in a small country town here in Virginia, and this is now going to be my forever home, hopefully.
Wow, that's awesome. Our benefit. So you're
I hope
forever home, forever job?
I'm forever home, forever job, hopefully.
Awesome.
That's kind of my plan. I fell in love here. I have a beautiful property, a beautiful area. I have no intentions of leaving.
Oh my gosh, dude, Charlottesville, are you hearing this? Central Virginia, are you hearing this? This is great news. Dylan, is this your friend Dylan Darrett?
Yeah.
She is a total badass. She really is. He says this is absolutely awesome. Multiple people are agreeing with you. If you want to give her props, put it in the comment section. This is live on every social media platform possible, and I will relay it live on air to her. She is crushing this interview right here. So here's a good question. Is the brand Fashion Square Mall moving forward? Is that to be determined?
Yeah, no. I'm going to say yes. It's Fashion Square Mall is moving forward.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'll throw this to you. How has JLL, your employer, helped the tenants through the pandemic and COVID?
So understand that JLL has only been on property since October of this last year.
Okay.
So we are coming up on the first, our 1 year mark.
Okay.
As a company. So during the COVID times, we weren't the management team there.
Okay.
It was previous management teams. So coming back from COVID, obviously we have spent a lot of time with our tenants, me especially. Like, I've sat down with our tenants, gone through budget plans, gone through marketing ideas. We have some amazing tenants that made it through the COVID experience. I mean, I think we can all agree that COVID was an experience.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I'd like to highlight a few of them that actually made it through. So
Please.
we have Fashion Lights. They are an amazing smaller business. He specializes in lighting that is handmade and handcrafted, I believe, and I could be wrong, from Turkey. A lot of his stuff is handmade. He's got handmade jewelry, handmade tea sets. All of his stuff is exquisite. And he is an amazing man. And he has created a beautiful store in our center. And he made it. He's here. He's still going strong. That same man also owns Fashion Watch, which has been a staple in that center for forever, from my understanding. We have the best cell phone repair place in Charlottesville. I've been to a few of them. The man in my center, he can repair any phone. He is phenomenal. I'm not sure if they were open during COVID, but we have the kids spa, which is she is an amazing woman.
Shanice Raglan?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yes, so the kids spa is a beautiful place to take your kids to go get a little spa day. Maybe mom and kid want to go and have some fun and get their nails done and painted together. And it's all non-toxic brands. It's all just a great experience. You can book a party there. I've watched some of her parties. The kids will get their nails done and then they'll play with slime and play in the bouncy pit. And I mean, MXA Kids Spa is probably, any little girl would love it. So it's a great business to be a part of. And then we have our staples. We have Torrid that made it. We have Route 21. We have Build-A-Bear, Bath and Body Works. We have a T-Zone made it. They are a great, they make their own T-shirts right there. Amazing Man. You can go in there and customize any shirt that you want done or anything. And we have a lot of the Sabero Latino restaurant. They survived. China Express. We have a great international hair design salon that's there. So, a lot of businesses definitely, the mall never really closed. Yes, it's seen better days. But there are tenants that are holding strong that could use the support of our community. And, without them, they won't last. So if they want to see the center continue, look past what we need to for the now and just support the tenants.
You're crushing this.
Oh, thank
She
you.
is hitting a grand slam right now. Carl, welcome to the program. Travis, we'll get to your questions here. 6 states on the feed watching you on the show. I'll throw this to you. Home Depot and plans for tangible progress, like construction, remodeling, when we'll see the Home Depot, any enhancements to the structure. Do we have a timeline, even a tentative timeline for that?
There hasn't.
Okay.
I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you when I see it. I'll
Sure.
let you know as soon as I know anything. Spoke to Home Depot this morning. It's also new. What is this, the 16th?
Because it closed on the 1st, right?
Yeah, so we're only 16 days into this.
Yeah.
It was a fairly fast purchase, fairly fast close. From what you were talking about the other day, that they wanted to move in here before. I think it was the news that maybe said it to me, that said they've been trying to come here for a while. To Charlottesville and wanted to join the community. So I think that they found the opportunity to, and they jumped on it. And so there isn't a lot of, what are we doing? What's going to happen? I know that anything that does happen is, they're a very calculated company. They're not going to, nothing's going to be jumped into it. But JLL's here to stay. The mall, for the foreseeable future isn't going anywhere.
I love it. So more questions coming in. This is coming in from Danville, Virginia. Spencer, I'll get to your comment here in a matter of moments. This is a good one from Travis Hackworth, who is watching in Danville. And folks, we encourage everyone to support the mall as much as you can here. Travis says, I wonder how the changing retail landscape has affected her ability to attract new businesses, and to what degree. What does she see the retail landscape being in the future? And what advice would you give to people who are looking to open up brick and mortars or attract end users to their storefront? Great question.
That's an amazing question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what I have stapled my progress on. So that was multi-tier question. So how do I attract businesses to Fashion Square Mall? I would say we're a family, first and foremost. You walk through that center and all of my tenants are talking to one another. They're all trying to help each other. They're all trying to build each other's platforms. They work together to create different relationships to help each other grow. And I'm right along there with them. I'm in there helping them change the visuals of their space, marketing them better online. And he's Oriental Rug. He is he does handmade, custom-made Turkish rugs. He's made a lot of progress since I've taken over. He's an older gentleman, but that doesn't mean that we can't get on social media. That's where a lot of our advertisement is. And I think pushing some of these, older businesses, smaller businesses, and helping them expand the social media platforms that exist out here is imperative. We all like the comfort of getting on our phone and ordering stuff on Amazon, but we all know that we're returning it half the time,
right?
Exchanging it. So I think that now that everybody's getting a little braver and the COVID experience is coming back, we're all going to want to come back out and, try on our clothes and have fun with our families and have fun with our friends. And I think Fashion Square Mall will be the place to go here.
I love it.
Absolutely will be the place to go.
Questions coming in about any plans for live music at the mall?
We would absolutely love to have live music. We have
multiple bands are asking to see if they can play at the mall.
We would love it. We need to get with Morrow County Zoning Office and work through some details for sure. We had planned a couple festivals, but We need to definitely work with the county to be able to figure out how to make that happen. So, I mean, we're not against it.
I'd be remiss not to ask you about Albemarle County. And I know that, you know, and I'm going to stand up for her here, guys. So her job is to facilitate positivity in the mall. So the last thing that she's going to do to facilitate positivity in the mall is to throw shade at a local jurisdiction. But she never would do that, okay? We do know, the viewers and listeners, me, us, everyone, that sometimes Albemarle County can be difficult to work with. That's me saying this. That's not you saying this.
Not me saying that,
the
correct.
Viewers and listeners know this here. Why don't we throw that topic, and I understand that there's limited things you can say on this, and I respect you too much to push further into this. Albemarle County and this process, getting COs, building permits, all that.
I mean, they're overworked. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm sure that they're probably experiencing the same staffing issues as the rest of America is. We have a lot of businesses that are ready to open, and, you know, they're working through the process. And I respect Albemarle County exponentially because I have thrown a ton of business at them recently. And, I mean, I went from a center that probably hadn't seen a new tenant in I don't even know how long, to my first month there throwing 9 new tenants at them. And so to say that I have probably put a lot of work on their desk would be an understatement. And so I respect the process. There's always room to grow with myself too. I mean, I will admit that when I first came on, I didn't know the way of Albemarle County. I mean, every county, every district, every state runs things differently. And navigating the ins and outs of how this zoning office wants to do things versus the other zoning offices I've worked in. And the businesses that are moving into Fashion Square Mall are doing the same. I mean, some have opened up businesses in Madison, and I mean, while we're right next door, very different. So everybody just patience, understanding, you know, we can grow. For sure. There's growth. You
handled that so well. You handled that so well. Better than I would have. Olivia Branch is giving you serious props. She says, great job, Athena. So this is a good question. It's a fair question. This is from Erin King. She's one of the head honchos at Feast on West Main Street in the Purple Building. And she says, could Target be a reality? I always see Home Depot and Target in the same center.
I don't know. That's one of those things for the future that I don't know.
Here's another good question that's come up for you. Which part of, and this is to be determined, okay, we don't have crystal balls here. Literally, this deal closed on the 1st, so it's been 16 days, okay? Do we have a portion of the mall that maybe Home Depot will target for their operation?
I don't think that I know that they've got plans out there, they've got ideas out there, but nothing. No, I'm going to say no at this point. Nothing that's come on paper, for sure.
Here's another great question, and you're going to love this one. How can someone who's interested in opening a business reach out to you to get their business in the mall?
Absolutely. So it's super easy. You just go to Charlottesville Fashion Square Mall website, and there's an inquiry button, and you just inquire your first space, and it sends me an email immediately, and I'll reach out via email and text. That's kind of one of the easiest ways to reach me to get into there.
Here's another great question. It sounds like this is from Woody Fincham, the appraiser. Woody, I'll paraphrase yours a little bit. He says, center sounds better, and the openness to local business will drive attention to the mall that, say, a place like Stonefield has not. He's basically talking about the prioritization of local.
Absolutely.
And the importance of that.
It's very important because the reality of the day, and that's where I've stood my ground on since I've taken over this position, is if I can help a local small business grow. Let's say somebody that's got a little shop in the corner of somewhere, and I can help them grow at our center and help them flourish and hire employees and make more money. Where does that money go back into? It goes right back into our community. It's our people. It's a business that's, you know, the owner lives here and spends money here and flourishes here. That's instead of maybe somebody else that, you know, the money's going other places, it all goes here. So if I can bring local small businesses up and help them succeed, then it just benefits our entire community. The place we all call home.
That's very well said. Multiple people are saying thank you, thank you, thank you, and it sounds like these are tenants that are watching for clearing the air. I think every tenant in the center right now is watching you on this show as we speak, because I'm seeing the thank yous coming on the show for clearing the air. So what are we missing here? What should be out there that we're not highlighting? Everyone's so grateful for your time here. You with the attention this has gotten, I think you realize, and I know you realize how like critically important these 19 acres are.
Absolutely.
And how like these 19 acres in Fashion Square Mall, especially for like maybe like an older population, how this center has been near and dear to their heart for so long.
Absolutely.
So what should be out there that we're not covering?
I think that everybody is going to take whatever consideration that the community, I mean, this isn't anything that's going to happen overnight. This isn't anything that's a lot of thought is going to go into whatever future that it brings. And like you said, like the center has been near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. I mean, I have regular mall walkers every morning that have been walking the mall for 30 years. I know them all by first name. They know me. So I don't want that relationship to go anywhere. And, you have people that have walked the center since I've started there and talk about what it was like in its glory days and talk about everything that they miss about it and that how it was and what they hope that it will be. And I think that that's where anybody would sit. Whatever's to come, as far as the property goes, I think it'll be amazing. I'm excited. I think the community should be excited. I know that there's been a lot of scare and fear about what the future is going to hold. Just have faith. I mean, faith is hard sometimes, but just trust that, it'll be a bright future. She's
sitting across me right now. My fingers are moving at like the fastest rates possible. And this is me like responding to the viewers and listeners who are leaving the comments, and I'm not able to keep up here. So many people are giving you so much props here. Courtney Johnson again is reiterating that you're the absolute best. Multiple future or potential tenants are watching the show.
Absolutely.
So you may be signing some deals here after this interview. Folks are asking, is there a set price per square foot? Is it flexible? How competitive will the leases be? Term limits, stuff like that.
Come and talk to me. I mean, I think the one thing that my tenants will all say is I want to see them succeed. I mean, because if they succeed, we succeed. That's the end. That's the bottom game. I mean, if without our tenants, Fashion Square is what? I mean, that's the reality of it. So absolutely come see me. Let's see what we can get going, what we can grow. Understand that not all the spaces that look available are available. I have a lot of tenants that are ready and willing to open and just waiting on some red tape at this point. So they'll open up shortly. There's a lot of exciting things coming. Bintastic recently opened up. They're a great business that we have recently opened up.
Tell us about them.
Okay, so Bintastic is, so we house their largest store in Virginia. So they are an Amazon bins distributor. Kind of their business model is they get the Amazon return items. So bin drops happen on Friday, and that's what they call them, is bin drops. So Friday, every day at Friday, we get a line going out the center, and $10 is Friday. Everything that's in the bins is $10. So you can they've had Apple Watches, they've had anything that you can think of on Amazon is in their store. I mean, the imagination is only wild. So they've been great. They've been open, I want to say we're coming up maybe a little over a month now. Great business, great owners, small company, local company. Support them 100%. Then we have also that's open. We've had our two nail salon. Well, one nail salon's open, one's due to open soon. They both do amazing, beautiful work. We have the sneaker thrift store coming soon. He's an amazing businessman, great heart. I mean, that man has done a ton for the youth of our community. He's when he was closed, I watched him preschool bring in youth that needed shoes and he just gave them away.
Wow.
Because he cares about the youth of this town. So great business, great man. I brought him in. We've got a bunch of others that haven't really released yet, I don't think, that are coming. Snaptrap, he's a selfie museum is what he calls it. It's a place where you can go and take some amazing photos, like just some selfie photos, group photos, family photos, whatever. Use his selfie station. I want to say, I think he said like 15, 20 different little sections that you can go into and take some really cool photos.
Nice. Very nice.
So.
You're killing it. Multiple people are saying you're killing this. Restaurants, prioritization of restaurants. How does the restaurant experience impact the center? People are asking. And I'm going to add to this. I think what they're alluding to with the restaurants, you have the if it's a reservation or they're a wait, then the customer walks around the center. Mm-hmm. What's the concept with restaurants? Will we see any additions or any restaurants pursued?
Absolutely. So I have a couple pursuits that are coming into play that their leases are signed. We're just waiting for
Can we talk about it?
For things to move. No, we're just going to move
right,
forward.
Okay. I had to try.
Absolutely. So we're just moving forward. They will be open when we can get them open, and things are moving forward. In the center, we're hoping to get more. I mean, we do have Red Lobster, which is an amazing staple
Sure.
brand chain. We have Red Robin. We've got Saber Latino. They're a great little Mexican restaurant. I'm going to die on their quesadillas, though, man. Then our Chinese restaurant. So and then we have a beautiful coffee shop that sells some amazing paninis and salads. And so, I mean, we have a selection. Is it typical mall selection? Probably not. Are we growing? Absolutely. So, I mean, we're moving up.
Wanda mentions nails next door.
Absolutely.
I'm saying I will mention this live on air. I'm literally responding to these people, to the viewers and listeners while doing the interview. You're amazing. All right, so why don't we do this as we wrap up the interview here? 36 minutes flies. This is a good question.
Oh, wow.
Will there be a food court, or will it be restaurants spread throughout the center?
I think as we are currently sitting, again, we're sitting at what the future looks like, we don't know. So as Fashion Square is currently set up, we have the four restaurant spaces in what one would consider the food court. Those are occupied by JBD Soul Food, Saber Latino, and China Express, and then a new up-and-coming business that will occupy the fourth space. And then we do have another restaurant space that is located over on the Sears end of the old Sears end of the mall that currently has a contract that's coming up on it. So we'll have 5 restaurants inside the center in addition to the 2 that are out center. So Red Robin, amazing hamburgers, great restaurant. Red Lobster, great seafood place, staple in the community for sure. And so could we grow more? Absolutely. But have there been more? No. That's the only zoned restaurant spaces that we have.
Cara's asking about the lease the county may have with the Sears building. Is that a long-term tenant, she's wondering?
So I think she's referring to the J.C. Penney's.
Yeah, J.C. Penney, right. That's
Yes.
the public. How would we describe it? It's an Albemarle County epicenter.
I think they're calling it a public safety department.
Yeah, it's going to be home to storage of vehicles, some mechanic work. A public safety department is a good description there. Do we know much about that?
I know nothing.
Because that's not under your purview.
Nope. So
Yeah.
J.C. Penney's is owned separately. That location, that spot is owned separately than anything I have ever managed. So when I took over, the 2 places I do not touch or talk about or I'm a part of is the J.C. Penney's and the Belk Women's.
Right.
Now, obviously, we do own the Belk Men's, so our Belk relationship is amazing.
Uh-huh.
Their store manager and general manager are probably the most sweetest human beings on earth. So there's a great relationship there. But J.C. Penney's has been nobody's been in there, so I don't know a whole lot about that. I'm going to be honest. I've been focusing on my things.
What you're managing. Absolutely. J.C. is owned by a local real estate company, guys, Seminole Trail Management. They purchased Seminole Trail Management, the local company, the 10.17-acre parcel for $4.5 million in September 2020. Multiple moms are asking plans for photos with Santa in Christmas time.
Absolutely, yes. So we already got him booked. The same amazing Santa that everybody's come to love, 16 years running, and he'll be here. He is a beautiful human being, and he will definitely be there. He will be, I want to say that they normally open right around, right before Thanksgiving, like the week of Thanksgiving. So they'll be there, already planned, signed contracts, ready to go. Keep an eye on my Facebook, keep an eye on my website. We have tons of events coming that normally don't happen. So story times with Santa, opening day events with Santa, We're going to do a sensory Santa Day, which I don't think our center has ever seen. So we'll open up early to accommodate any special needs children that maybe need some lower lights and some quiet environment. That will happen. Pet Day absolutely is going to happen. So Santa will get to be there with kids. We're going to do some crafts with Santa too. So a lot of great things coming as far as Santa goes. So Santa will definitely be there.
Man, we have Alex Urpí coming up here. I know the question, there's so many questions and comments coming in right here. I just got a DM from a local brewery. Jerry, please don't utilize our name or the brewery name, please, but please ask your guest if she's opposed to a tap room experience in the mall.
I am not. I mean, that is definitely, those are questions that we bring together as a team. So understand that while I am the general manager, JLL as a team is going to be working to create the experience as well. I am not. I mean, let's talk. Let's present it to the company. Absolutely.
Kevin, that's exactly what I was thinking. Kevin's watching in Waynesboro. Designated outdoor refreshment area. I'm a huge fan of the Dora, where you can go on the downtown. My main pitch was for the downtown mall.
Okay.
Where you can check in, show ID, you get a wristband and a cup, and you're able to hop around and with a beer or a glass
Absolutely.
of wine from all over the mall.
Yeah.
Could Fashion Square Mall in Albemarle County be this designated outdoor refreshment area? Obviously, this would need Albemarle County approval.
Absolutely.
And
Tons
they
of
would
approval.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at doing what a lot of centers around the United States have done is called sip and shop. So it's where local.
Sip and shop.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think they call it a little bit something different, but I've been working on it and I'm calling it sip and shop. So maybe it's out there somewhere else as sip and shop, but sip and shop. So it's local breweries, local wineries all pairing together and, doing a day, maybe once a month, maybe every other month, where they're set up booths and, sip and shop, enjoy local tastings, and then go around and see what all of our new tenants have to offer. So that's definitely something I've been working on for a while. Understand I am new to Virginia, so the ABC laws are a little bit different here.
Yeah, dude, and I'm saying this isn't her saying this. This is me saying this is not her saying this. They are the worst. They are the worst. This is me saying this is not her saying this. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're totally good. I'm working through them, so that's why it hasn't happened yet. That's why it's not one of the things that have been advertised or put out there as far as things that I've done. It's something I'm working on. It's something I'm working through, and I'll continue working through whatever. I want to do a lot of fun things. So, I mean, my to-do list is longer than probably anybody else's.
I get the impression you're similar to us here at I Love CVille. You work hard and you like to play hard as well.
That could be a fair assessment.
Yes, I can tell. I knew it. All right, a couple more questions. Guys, we're not going to be able to get to all these questions. I'm sorry. This is from Johnny Ornalis. He owns Guadalajara and El Mariachi.
Okay.
So he owns multiple restaurants here. Would an outdoor space for events be available?
As far as a one-day event?
Because you guys got Toy Lift.
Yeah, so Toy Lift does their thing for sure, but we also had the circus. We also had our family fun day that was outside. So yeah, there is definitely an outdoor space that is available for rent to do event-centered things. I mean, the circus was there. We got the carnival coming soon. So absolutely.
John Blair, welcome to the program. Love you, JB. We're not going to be able to get to all these guys. I respectfully, I'm sorry. We got to be mindful of our time and Alex Urpí's time, the CEO of Emergent Financial Services, who's sitting behind Athena right now in the green room here at I Love CVille. I want to emphasize this to you guys. You are awesome. You represented JLL incredibly well today. I mean, incredible ambassador of your company. I think the ideas that you have are innovative and novel. I think the county and the city of Charlottesville are blessed to have you here because you're taking a piece of property that is critically important to the area and you have incredibly innovative ideas. You're huffing life and resuscitating this center. And we've all seen it. I've been here 22 years and I've seen it. I've seen the better days. Absolutely. And we all know what it could be.
Absolutely.
So we're fortunate to have you. I want to close and give you an opportunity for all those that are watching. Contact you, Absolutely. Questions, leases, want to get in and do some business, want to do events, all that stuff.
All the above. Absolutely. The best way to contact me is through the website. my email's long, and so definitely get on through the website. If you get on through Charlottesville Fashion Square Mall website, you can just Google Charlottesville Fashion Square Mall. It'll give you our website. Click on there. There are multiple ways to contact me through there. So just send a submission, and I respond, I promise.
Okay, and for those that are asking, Paul McCarter, I see what you're asking about kid stuff, recreation areas, arcade, laser tag. It seems like she's very much prioritizing the kids' experience here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And outside of event things, I mean, keep an eye out. We're wanting to revitalize the kids' play area and bring it back to life by doing story times in there and just event-centered things to bring life back into the center. So just keep an eye on the story times. I mean, I'd like to see mom groups coming in and doing story times and having, a coffee in our center with their kids while they play at the Playland. The Playland is opened, so it will be better. It needs some love. We're getting there.
I'll put a plug in for ourselves here. I don't think there is a more influential brand in Central Virginia than what we're doing here at I Love CVille. We would love to work with you guys. We would love to partner with you guys, driving awareness, driving new customers, driving event awareness, driving lease awareness, all of the above.
Let's do it.
We should form some kind of joint venture.
Let's do it. I'm game.
Dude, you are amazing.
Well, thank you. So are you.
I look forward to continuing the relationship professionally. You have my number. I have your number. We will continue to do it.
Let's keep going.
Use the megaphone.
Absolutely.
Our megaphone, please.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to do so. For sure. And I'll definitely be in touch. We'll stay in communication.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Have a good afternoon. Best weekend to you.
Good luck. Thank you.
J-Dubs, if we go to the one shot, Alex Urpí here moments away, guys. This interview archived in totality on ilovecville.com. Athena, you crushed it. You crushed it. You crushed it. Seriously, you crushed it. Have a good day. More on Fashion Square Mall here on the I Love CVille Network. We realize how important this 19 acres is to this community. Alex, we'll get you here on the show here in a matter of moments. Tenants that are in Fashion Square Mall, do not hesitate to reach out to us to drive awareness for your businesses on the show. We are small business champions. We champion the underdog on the I Love CVille Network, and we're eager to get to work to help you guys drive awareness for your businesses. Judah, we'll go to the two-shot right now. Alex Urpí's in the studio. He's the CEO of Emergent Financial Services. Home Depot bought them all. News broken on the I Love CVille Network.
I saw it. I was about to say.
Went viral. Absolutely viral. What do you make of this news, Alex Urpí?
I mean, it's very positive news. I was very happy to read it because it means that obviously there is interest, not just, obviously the community would love to see, right, Fashion Square Mall be successful. And two, but that means there is investment interest in Fashion Square Mall. I'm curious to see what Home Depot is going to do there. I'm trying to envision, where a Home Depot goes or what other things they could do for it. I'm not sure. I don't know if you got any hints as to whether this is an investment decision that involves putting a Home Depot there or involves other things that Home Depot would like to branch out to. But it clearly shows investment interest in the prospects there.
Home Depot in the retail game at Fashion Square Mall, in the development game at Fashion Square Mall, in the landlord game at Fashion Square Mall.
Yep,
I would encourage folks to check out the Falls Church Center, where Home Depot is the premier or anchor tenant. They own that, the Home Depot. Check that one out as potentially as a barometer. This is great news for the county, man. I'm curious of your take from a business standpoint. Lowe's is within spitting distance of where this is going to be.
Down
across the street. It's across the street from them. And they're literally across from 29
a little further. Yeah. You have to go on, I think, past the underpass.
I can hit my 4-iron from Fashion Square Mall to the Lowe's.
Yeah.
That kind of close as the crow flies. What do you make of that? Competition's good for everybody.
I think so. And I think we've seen, this wouldn't be the first place where I have seen a Lowe's and a Home Depot at
next to each other.
Yeah, right next to each other.
Yeah.
You've literally got similar. You've got a Kroger, a Lowe's, and a Walmart down the street from both of them. I think there's going to be plenty of business to go around. I don't think it's going to. I think Home Depot knows that, right? Home Depot does their homework. They know darn well. They knew darn well before they made this move that there is a Lowe's where it's located, and their feeling is we will get a different customer base or get customers. It's a competitive industry. You want to get customers to switch to you.
Very well said. Alex Urpí, CEO of Emergent Financial Services. How about this idea? Kevin Yancey, I couldn't agree with you more. Albemarle County, okay? And everyone knows that I'm watching this program knows I love Charlottesville. The company is called I Love CVille, but I Love CVille is more indicative of Central Virginia because the brand I Love CVille just has a better ring to it than I Love Central Virginia. If you're Albemarle County leadership, why not consider a Fridays after 5 event in the mall? You have shelter, you're protected from inclement weather, heat and cold, and you could potentially eat the lunch of the city of Charlottesville by doing a Fridays after 5 live event series music in the mall, which would create trickle over traffic for the tenants in the mall. I love that idea.
Or they could do it starting. Does Fridays after 5 ends at a certain point? Does it?
Fridays after 5 usually ends at what, like 8:30, 9 o'clock?
No, ends in the season.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it ends once the summer,
usually, I'll tell you when that ends here. You finish your thought.
But in other words, you could start that one because you're now safe from inclement weather. You could start that one when the Fridays after 5 at Charlottesville. I mean, you could compete with it too.
Or I mean, if
point being is that's something you can do. You can't do Fridays after 5 on the mall in the dead of winter, right? At some point, January, February hits. Do you really feel like doing it when the season of Christmas has ended? But a Fridays after 5 inside during that season, it's much more appealing.
Dude, Fridays after 5, April 15th to September 9th. So, and interestingly, it's over here. Albemarle County leadership, you could eat the lunch of the city of Charlottesville from a taxpayer standpoint, tax dollar standpoint, incremental revenue standpoint. If you did a Fridays after 5 in a sheltered environment, I would bet you it would peel a ton of people away from the pavilion in Fridays after 5 and send them to the mall.
But like I said,
air-conditioned environment.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime the weather is not conducive to being outside.
Because it's the dog days of summer over here.
Dog days of summer, when it gets cold. I mean, you've got a lot of opportunities there. And I think that's what I liked about the interview you just had is I think that's the direction that malls need to go. In other words, the mall as your easy place to shop is dead. Meaning, like, if all I'm looking for is I need A, B, and C, you no longer just go to the mall and say, I'm going to knock these out. You go to your computer and knock out A, B, and C. If you want the experience to say, I don't know exactly what I want, but I would like to shop around, I would like to enjoy some food while I'm doing it, I would like to listen to some music while I'm doing it, I would like my kids to play while I'm doing it, that's the only way you're going to get people back into malls, because it's no longer the convenient. I remember when I was little, you went to the mall every time you needed to do some combination of clothes shopping plus food shopping plus some other thing. And there were certain stores that were only at malls. Like I remember when I grew up in California in a small town, when the 3 little Urpí boys needed clothes, we went to the mall because that's where clothing stores were. There was no separate clothing stores. You went to I think the only clothing store at that mall was a Macy's. But in other words, you went to the Macy's and the Gap. That's what was there. The Macy's and the Gap, they were all attached in malls. Now, if you're not knocking things out online, people buy clothes online at this point. So unless you're really going for an experience, that's what really needs to bring people in. You need to be able to persuade, which it sounds like they are going for. In other words, what's the experience that can bring people to the mall where they will also do shopping, not what's the shopping that will get them to
And the branding business is called Omni Experiential Retail. Omni Experiential Retail is where you go to a place for something like Photos with Santa. You go to a place for something like Sip and Shop. You go to a place like Short Pump Mall that has experiences that cannot be cannibalized online. Great examples of this being done locally are the Happy Cook. They have classes for chefs, amateur chefs, chefs at home, where they can legitimately pay to do a chef class and utilize the product they're considering buying. Another example of omni experiential retail is Animal Connection and Patty Zeller. You can go to Animal Connection in X Park, you can have your dog groomed, your dog bathed, the nails clipped, the hair trimmed, and then you can learn from the staff about what the best dog food is to keep the stuff from building up in their eyes, the sneezing and the allergies from happening. Omni experiential retail is the branding.
That's what it is.
I tell you what, dude, I think this is just phenomenal news for Albemarle County.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, where were, what was it? Maybe 6 months ago, I remember sitting here with you and also on Keith Smith's show, Real Talk with Keith Smith, talking about, all right, is it going to be the Fashion Square Mall or the Dewberry Hotel that gets Pittsburgh? Well, Fashion Square Mall seems to be on its road to victory there.
Well said. Bringing that up.
I don't know if you remember that conversation.
We had a prop bet.
Well, we were worried about it.
Yeah.
We were saying, what's going to happen? Well, it looks like we have some positive, path to victory there.
So the extorting emperor of empty lots, Johnny Dewberry, who grew up in Waynesboro, is going to lose that prop bet. We were wondering what was going to get developed or enhanced first, the mall or the Dewberry Hotel. The mall is winning.
The mall is,
the mall is
in the
won.
lead. The mall is in the lead.
And what'd you make of Athena?
She was excellent. She was fantastic. I really liked hitting all the points, and really she was making me want to go back to the mall for the first time in a while, because I don't do much shopping to begin with. But it was making me want to go visit and see. I didn't know some of these things were there.
Which one excited you the most? Did you hear, Judah, the Bintastic? $10 bins. Fridays they drop. Some Apple Watches in the bins.
Really?
People have found Apple Watches in the bins. They're the Amazon returns. And it goes to Bintastic. And on Fridays, the bins drop, and for $10, you get a treasure hunting experience.
That can be really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And imagine if you did a steal there. I would just pop by every once in a while to be
right.
like, okay, maybe this is my lucky day.
Yeah. There's the Marshall's treasure hunting experience, and then there's the actual treasure hunting experience with Bintastic. I love that idea. All right, my friend, let's talk. Look, okay, the inflation number came in hot earlier this week.
It did.
Hotter than expected. As a result, the expectation is Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve, is going to be even more hawkish with his rate increases.
He was already basically saying he was going to be hawkish when inflation was flat month to month, and now it went up month to month. So he's going to probably raise rates again.
Yeah, and I think the expectation is either 3/4 of a point or a full point on September 20th, and now the scuttlebutt is potentially a rate hike in October and potentially one in November. Mm-hmm. My friend, what's the impact of this?
I think the number one impact is obviously the market, not surprisingly, it was not pleased by this information, right? The market, as we've talked about numerous times, even more than the economic picture, the market at this phase in its existence is looking for the flow of easy money. Anything that hampers the flow of easy money is seen as bad news. So the moment he came out, I can't recall if I was on your show that day, but that day in which Powell came out and said, we are willing to cause some economic pain in order to get rid of inflation by raising interest rates, the market tanked. Sure enough, inflation came in hotter than expected, the market tanked. So it's not surprising that the market is reacting this way, given what we've seen the behavior out of the market for the last 10 plus years. So getting that out of the way. Second thing, obviously, is we have to be seriously looking at the impact on home purchases at this point. Because you're now reaching levels, I mean, if they continue to raise rates, we could be talking 7 to 8% mortgage rates.
Kevin Yancey shared on the feed today, one of his friends didn't have great credit. Judah, listen to this, Judah. This particular person did not have great credit, so I have to caveat that. The home buyer did not have great credit. She locked in a 30-year fixed mortgage at 15%.
Ouch, that probably has not been seen in a while.
And that's before the rate hikes that are on the horizon. Yeah. 15%. That's darn near credit card levels. Mm-hmm.
Then that's probably, if you have good credit, you're not looking at that.
Oh, good credit's not that.
You're not looking at the number. You're looking right now
mid-sixes.
Between 6 and 7.
Mid-sixes right now.
We're talking now, if they keep raising rates, we're talking good credit maybe sitting somewhere between 7 and 8.
Good, and it could go higher.
Or higher.
And it could go higher. So I'm curious to see if this is going to drive if this could drive in the short term an uptick of purchasing homes as people try to buy a home before these rate hikes take in effect, the 8%, the 9%, or if it's going to completely diminish buyer demand for the foreseeable future. Any thoughts on that?
That's a tricky one because I can see this first scenario happening. In other words, you buy now. It's a typical inflation. You buy now because you expect rates to be higher later. On the flip side, I think what tempers that is how concerned are people's sentiments about home prices and the economy. In other words, on the flip side, if you're sitting there saying, do I buy a home now if I think that the price might go down, right? In other words, which one worries people more? Because of course, right, a higher interest rate has an impact over the life of your loan, whereas a higher, price has an impact right now. On the flip side, if you can always finance your home in the future, if you bought it at too high of an interest rate, you cannot rebuy it.
That's
if
true.
You paid too much money. So
flip side of that would be is if the rates stay high, is the refinance option truly an option?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, you're betting on that they won't stay at 8%, whereas if they continue to stay high,
the refi is not an option.
Then you have to be able to actually afford the interest rate you're locking in now.
Right.
So I think what you have is two headwinds, two competing winds there. And again, what will determine is the magnitude. In other words, what's stronger? People's concern about where the home market and the economy are heading, or people's desire, which is rational, to buy now before interest rates increase even more.
Alex Urpí, CEO of Emergent Financial Services. Do you expect the pain to persist?
In terms of
volatility. Hawkish Fed, red on the board?
Probably. I mean, we are seeing inflation. What's a little worrisome, which is that the last inflation number, the one that was higher than expected, was not really primarily the result of energy prices.
Right.
So that speaks to two possibilities. Either you've got that cycle of people expect higher prices, thereby cause higher prices, or or some combination of these two, or we've reached the point where there is just so much money had been pumped into the system that we are looking at too much money chasing too few goods. That's the classic definition of inflation, is too much money chasing too few goods, right? We know that the supply of goods is not going to increase, right? Because inventories were already being dwindling, and outlook from a lot of companies is not positive. So they're not going to be pumping a bunch more goods out there, especially with supply chain issues. So the question is there too much money in the system? Because we did have an Inflation Reduction Act that was pretty much in name only. Let's be honest here. You can't spend money and expect inflation reduction to come out of it. And secondly, we did have an announcement of basically $300 billion worth of student loans that will be wiped out. Now, granted, that is money that will appear. In other words, people haven't yet received the $10,000 per person, but that is the expectation in the economy of $10,000 per person who has a student loan pumped in. That is money that is going to be pumped into the system. A lot of money in the system with not enough goods for it to go to causes inflation. So that's the concern, is that we're in a cycle where we can't just blame it on energy anymore.
The food at home index, which is a good proxy for grocery prices, has increased 13.5% over the past year, the largest such rise since March 1979. What that basically means, buying groceries is more expensive than ever before. That's basically what that means. What do you think these multiple agents are asking? What do you think these rates are going to do to the real estate market?
To the real estate market? It's a tricky one. I think a lot of it will depend on the local situation. Nationally, I mean, let's face it, anytime the price of something is more expensive, people want buy less of it. And I think that applies to houses as well as to other goods. In other words, if the more expensive it becomes to purchase a house, minus your short-term bump that we just discussed, right? On the medium term, so let's say over the next 12 months as opposed to over the next 1 month or 2 months, right? The more expensive it is to buy a home, the less people buy homes. It's the basic law of economics. So I think that's what I would expect to see if rates keep going up. Now, doesn't mean an instant price drop, right? In other words, we were looking, let's say earlier this year, and I've thought Xavier has used this analogy a couple of times. Let's say earlier this year there were 4 buyers for every 1 home. Obviously, upward pressure on prices. Let's say because there's less demand, there are now 2 buyers for every 1 home. That still does not put downward pressure on prices. In other words, if in your area there are still 2 potential buyers who are looking for a house for every 1 house that is out there, the price of the house is not going to go down. There are still more buyers than there are goods. Now, the price rise may not be as dramatic anymore, right? Because now it's a 2-to-1 versus 4-to-1. But that doesn't mean the prices are going to instantly plummet across the board. So when you look at a place like Charlottesville, you have to weigh the national picture of the more expensive it is to buy a house, the less people buy homes, with the local picture, which is supply and demand. How many homes are there? How many people need to buy a home? Because there's also, if you got hired by UVA and you're moving here, you either need to buy a home or you need to rent. Like, you need to live somewhere. And if rent is extremely expensive, you may buy the home regardless of the price or regardless of the interest rate. In other words, you'll take it because your salary will cover it regardless, even though it's more expensive than you'd like it to be. So that's the only conflicting picture in Charlottesville. I mean, we saw there were certain areas like Seattle that even in the great financial crisis did not see a decrease in home prices. So if your area still has more people requiring homes than there are homes available, you are not going to be as affected by the greater national picture of the fact that it's more expensive to buy a home nationally.
Well explained. Antonio Banderas of Finance, Alex Urpí. Bill McChesney, Wild Bill McChesney says, goods inflation has been driven by higher fuel prices and transportation availability. Diesel fuel is still high and CDL drivers are fewer than before. That's a great comment from Wild Bill right there. Wind down the interview with a couple more for you. Let's cut to the chase. We got midterms coming up in November. How much of this is a manipulation of political parties trying to dominate office, claim office? How much of this is going to alleviate the inflationary pressure post midterms? And is that a factor at all?
Actions they may take now?
I mean,
we are seeing, there's no doubt that the emptying of the strategic reserve is designed to push down gas prices to make things more palatable, but at some point they will have to rebuy the strategic reserve at $80 a barrel, which is, I think, what the plan is currently. In other words, as soon as gas hits 80, they will buy at a higher price to put back into the strategic reserve, because that's not typically what it's used for. Like, you don't typically use the strategic reserve to improve the price of gas. You use it if there's a gas shortage, which we really aren't. It's not as though we're seeing a gas shortage in the sense that, like, people literally cannot find gasoline. We just are paying a very high price for gasoline, right? So there's no doubt that that's part of it. That's to be expected. It's not a shocker that would be the case. I think it's in typical politician fashion. That's probably why we are seeing bills called Inflation Reduction Act, or there's a number of other proposed ones.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality, right? So I think we will see that in advance of the midterms. I also think it's not surprising why Congress is working on a continuing resolution to try to, right now, to attempt to get things funded through next year. I think the Democrats are sitting there saying it's easier to get a continuing resolution now than if Congress changes hands. And Republican leadership is probably sitting there saying, we would rather deal with this continuing resolution now than with this Congress than have our incoming members have to deal with this in January. So again, that's probably why you might see a push towards stability in them doing some kind of deal now rather than waiting to do it in January or December. In terms of the impact, it'll depend on what happens. Split government typically tends to calm businesses in the markets because the assumption is we will not see major changes.
It's good for the markets.
The market likes stability, right?
Yeah.
The market wants, and which makes sense as a small business owner, right? If you and I would much rather, as small business owners, look out over the next 2 years and say, I have a pretty good idea what the law, tax, and regulatory environment is going to be for the next 2 years, rather than look out over the next 2 years and say, I have no idea what changes may be coming in law, regulatory, or tax implications. Split government usually means that we know that not much is going to happen major over the next 2 years, at least as far as law, regulatory, and tax questions are concerned. And business, particularly business as well, and the markets likes to see that.
Alex Urpí's the man. CEO of Emergent Financial Services. Write the name down, Emergent Financial Services. Count on them, guys, to navigate this tumultuous time. That's fair?
It's
Is that fair?
definitely high volatility.
Yeah.
We are in a high volatility environment. We were in a low volatility environment for about a decade. I think we are in a high volatility one now.
This is where you need a trusted advisor more than ever. And Emergent Financial Services embody that phrase, trusted advisor. My friend, you crushed it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Always love being on.
We love having
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Judah Wickhauer is our director. Props to Judah, props to Alex, props to Athena. This is the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. The entire interview is archived at ilovecville.com. My friends, keep your business local in the community. Keep your dollars with the businesses that are your neighbors, your family, and your friends, and we will all reap the benefits of that. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody. Bravo.
Thank you.
Gracias, amigo.
No, un placer, un placer. Yeah, no, great interview.
Yeah.
Great interview with Athena.
Great show. You brought it too.
Oh, thank you.